Luke, did you comment on Ubisoft allegedly removing accounts for inactivity? Yeah, that apparently, from what I can gather, is just like a total nothing burger. I think it's a great example of misinformation and overreactions online, which I know is like frustrating because you're expecting me to like rage about it. But frankly, it doesn't seem like it's really Ubisoft's fault. Michael tweeted this out. This is horrifying. Ubisoft confirms they will delete your account and purchased games if you go inactive for too long. 3 exclamation points. Ubisoft ... What the fudge? Another example of why I'm becoming more and more concerned with the death of physical games. First of all, totally agree. Death of physical games sucks for the consumer. Totally with you there. And to demonstrate this, he points to a couple of things like emails where Ubisoft says that you've not been using your email or your Ubisoft account associated with this email address, so they suspend the account, and then you have 30 days to step in and reactivate it. Otherwise, they have to delete it. Everybody was like, oh, they're just going to delete accounts and take your money. First things first, we're talking about accounts that have been inactive for a while, like for multiple years. In some cases, people were saying it could be less than that. It could be within like 6 months. I've seen no demonstration of that. From what I can gather from official sources, it's years of inactivity. So first of all, from my perspective, if you have not logged into an account associated with an email in years and years and years, I'm not sure how much you value that account. But I understand it's frustrating to then have your purchases on the account lost. However, like I said, this doesn't seem to be related to Ubisoft. As you can see in the community note, Ubisoft is required under GDPR to delete personal information if retention is deemed no longer necessary. Ubisoft's international terms of service indicated accounts may be deleted after 6 months of inactivity, while the US terms have no such provision. Like I said, they allow them to delete it after 6 months. It seems like the only time that they are actually doing it is in the case of like years of inactivity. And you can see this in the terms of use, blah, blah, blah. And as for this specific description of the problem, yeah, UB officials flatly insist that whatever happened in Tor's case, which is described up here, isn't normal, and that it has never deleted any account that hasn't been logged in to in less than 4 years. So they're talking about accounts that have not been logged into for 4+ years. And frankly, if an account has not been logged to in 4+ years, I'm not sure how much you value that account. Still, I don't think they should be able to just delete your purchases, but it seems to be a regulatory thing. Let's see, they go on describing this particular instance and problem. But what this is, the policy later states that in consequences of account termination or suspension, no credit will be given back. So they're not going to pay you for your purchases. You're not getting your money back. On face value, that's an unusually harsh policy. And if you take the time to uncover and read a particular Ubisoft support page, you'll glean it's all tied to Ubisoft's interpretation of the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. Quote, please be reassured that Ubisoft does not automatically close inactive accounts, the support page says. Quote, however, per our terms of use, in rare instances, we can take action to comply with some local data protection legislation. This is only if we have strong reasons to believe that the account in question will remain unused. We may also close long-term inactive accounts to maintain our database. You'll be notified by email if we begin the process of closing your inactive account. Basically, to whittle this down, some municipalities have laws and regulations that don't allow companies to maintain your personal information past a certain point that you're no longer consenting to. So like when you sign a terms of service that says we're going to hold on to your account, purchase history, blah, 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 that gives that company the right to hold on to that information about you, what you've purchased, your email address, all of that. However, when you stop signing terms of service, when you stop logging in and effectively consenting to them retaining your information, they now are liable under these different rules and regulations in various municipalities. Just because in Texas or Colorado, we might not have requirements like that, there are countries in the world where they are required to get rid of that information after a set period of time. And that seems to be what's happening here. If they look at an account that has not been touched in 4+ years, maybe even 5 or 10 years, they at some point are like, well, we're aware of this account now. It's not been used. We have no reason to believe that this person's ever going to log back in. So we need to get rid of the clients and the customers' information so that we're not liable because they effectively haven't consented recently enough for us to justify it. And when you hear it explained that way, it doesn't sound that bad, right? It's a policy to abide by personal privacy protections. It's not that they're just trying to steal your money. And this is why I said, like, it didn't really make sense that this was like a big scandalous thing at first, because like, what does Ubisoft get out of it? They save 40 kilobytes of data on a server somewhere that says what you purchased and when. Like, that doesn't make any sense. There's got to be another justification for it. And people are like, oh, well, it's so they can force you to buy the game again. Well, if you haven't logged back into that account in 5+ years, what are the odds that you are their target customer? What are the odds that you would even notice the account being deleted if you've not logged into it in 5+ years? I can't remember what email address I was using 5 years ago. Do you think I really like if I have not logged into an account in 5 years, I'm going to even notice or care? Probably not. I've probably already opened another account. If in this case, probably already opened another Ubisoft account and have started using that. You know, so the whole thing just didn't make sense. And that's why when this explanation came out from the GDPR standards, it's like, oh, it's a privacy protections thing. You don't have to like it, but talk to your legislators that have laws and regulations protecting your privacy and information. Go complain to them, you know? It's just so dumb that people freak out about it. But I thought this was a great example of people seeing a story that sounds really, really bad and not thinking critically about it, being like, this doesn't make sense. Let's investigate what's going on. Instead, they're just like, like let's try to follow it through a little bit further. So fair concern, I think, from people, because Ubisoft has done crappy stuff before, but in this case, it just seems pretty cut and dry that this was more a privacy concern.